the event. My name is Asif Sabir. I'm originally from London, UK, been in the UAE for the last 6 years, helping organizations transform in digital environments. But before I start my full presentation, I would like everybody to basically go through this exercise, which is, can you please download this application called Kahoot on your mobile phones? It's a free application. You can delete it later on, but it's part of the quiz that we're going to be taking part at the end of the event. So I would encourage everybody to please pay attention to every slides that are coming on screen. And the reason for that, there'll be some questions and answers that will be part of the exercise of the quiz. And at the end, we hopefully want to give out some nice prizes in terms of technology programs. So again, we will put this up again just after lunch to just give you a reminder. It's a free application, light, so it's not going to overtake your phones or data storage or anything like that. But please do. And then when the quiz starts, I'll explain how it works. We'll give you a PIN number, which you will upload, and based on that, you will join the quiz. I wanted to share something today, which I call Dawn of the Day. Basically, I'm going to share what happened with me this morning. And I'm sure everybody in this room has touched some form of technology before coming to the event. Either by email, WhatsApp, your phones, whatever. We live in a society where we cannot live without technology now. So what happened with me this morning, my smartwatch woke me up saying that you've had enough sleep. You've had 7 hours, that's enough, which actually I didn't. I had less sleep than 7 hours. But according to my sleep cycle, it said it's time to get up, and then woke me up. And around about 10 minutes later, I went for my breakfast, and my fridge, basically, which is connected, is telling me what's in the fridge and what's good for me to eat at that time. So it's telling me, oh, you're going to need some toast and bread, or there's some eggs in the fridge, you can have that for your breakfast. Based on that, around about 6:54, my smartwatch comes up and tells me that it knew that I was going to come to this event. There's going to be traffic on Sheikh Zayed Road, so make sure that you're prepared for your journey, type of thing. Around about 7:12, I get a message that my presentation needs to be placed at the event for the event host to display. So at 8:50, I get a message that you still haven't sent your presentation, that you need to send this quickly. So at around about 8:51, via online tools, I was able to deliver my presentation. What I wanted to highlight here is basically we live in an ecosystem where technology is one. In this environment, if you look at the activities that have happened, there's AI, there's cloud, there's IoT, and there's basically all are playing one role together to provide a service, which we take for granted nowadays. We don't even think about, what your smartwatch is connected with, or whether your smartphones are connected with. You just take it for granted. So it's one ecosystem. So basically, the technologies that we're using today, we call them emerging technologies, but I think, I don't want to give a history lesson here in terms of blockchain or AI type of thing. We are already using these facilities, right? We're already implementing these in our normal daily lives. When it comes to working life, we have a bit of a hesitation, or, for example, AI. We say, oh, it's going to take over the world, we're going to lose jobs. But at home, we're accepting these solutions, right? Especially with the Alexas and the Siris and all that stuff. We're using them on the daily basis. So not in any particular order, the emerging technologies that I want to highlight is the following. Obviously, there's a cloud, there's data, there's IoT, AI, and blockchain. These are the ones that a lot of people talk about today in terms of how do we implement these in organizations, as well as how they're going to be impacting our societies going forward. So I'm just going to touch a little bit on each of them, not too much. But again, from a cloud perspective, we've got some, HP, IBM, leading, industries in the cloud. But we live in a different world now, right? In terms of how we implement solutions and how we use cloud. Again, today we don't really think about, putting documents onto our devices, or we are sharing documents. This morning, I think Ian shared a document with me, said, oh, Asif here, can you please download this presentation? basically is using the cloud, right? So we live in a world where things are much easier now. Not sending USB devices or anything like that, but we live in a world where we accept these solutions as granted as a normal solutions that we don't even think about in the past. Again, with the cloud, there is security risks. People are still hesitant in terms of moving, data to the cloud, especially in this region. I've come across with this hesitation coming from London, where I've worked for large UK government institutions. There, they've come across these issues well, but we've overcome the security. But here in this region, there is still obviously a bit of hesitation. But hopefully, with the data centers opening in this market, we find more and more organizations moving into the cloud. And again, cloud, obviously, again, I don't want to give you a bit of a history lesson. There are different formats of the cloud. You call them public and private and then hybrid. I think the best solution nowadays is that people are moving into a hybrid solution where they got some of the solutions which are on premises and some of the solutions are sitting in the cloud. Again, I think one of the leading organizations, for example, HP, I'm sure Saeed Zulfarali will give you a bit more insight in terms of how HP Edge computing is playing a really important part in organizations in itself. Again, the cloud, it's a bit of a solution where it's called a pay-as-you-go solution, where you only pay for what you use. It's not a solution where you've bought a server or you bought some machines and then you have to pay for it and you have to maintain, right? A pay-as-you-go solution is just like utilities. Like just for example, when you're opening a home, you switch on your tap of water, you only pay for the bill of the amount of water you've used. So the cloud computing is such a same concept where you only pay for what you use. Some basic stats in terms of how organizations are benefiting from implementing the cloud. You can see, I don't read out the numbers, but there's an amount of percentage in terms of saving, in terms of scalability and flexibility. This is data that's been released recently in terms of how organizations are helping save costs based on the cloud solutions that they're developing today. The next one I want to talk about is data. Earlier, Dr. Mustafa mentioned how data is playing a really important part in today's society. And there's a bit of a term that people throw around, data is the new oil. Basically, if you have the right data, the right analytics, and the solutions, and getting value out of that data is quite crucial. But to get that data, obviously, you have to follow a process. Again, there's a process where you need to understand how to cleanse that data, how to put that into perspective, and then to visualize that data. There are different tools available in the market, but getting that data in place, and again, so many things are connected in the world today, and there's so much data that's being pulled in organizations, but are people really making sense of that data? How they're structuring it, are they cleaning it properly? So there's a whole process in place that you can put in, and we can basically help organizations build on those visualizations and how to get value out of that data itself. Again, from a data point of view, there are different aspects. You can do analytics from e-commerce, from marketing. Again, there's a whole vast list of analytics that you can drive from consumer perspective, from organizations, for making efficiencies, and also helping in different sectors of the market itself. If you look at data today, what we do today, everybody uses their phones, their WhatsApps and tweets type of thing. There's some figures there that shows you how many millions of data that are being on a daily basis, right? So basically, data never sleeps. It's always constantly being exposed to everybody. I mean, again, I'm sure people are sending pictures of WhatsApp messages, emails on literally every second. Based on that, data is quite valuable. But to make sense of that data, that's something that you need experts, or I would say data analysts, to help you with all that. But nowadays, there's some good marketing agencies and obviously good data analysts available that help you make sense of that data. IoT. IoT is a really close subject to me in terms of what does it really mean. It means basically everything is connected. Again, like the earlier example I shared in the morning, that my fridge is connected, my emails are connected, everything's all in one ecosystem. So basically, everything that's you're going to see more and more of that coming in the next couple of years, especially with 5G coming on the market, and there's another concept called Wi-Fi 6 based on that. But look at the market in 2017 and 2019 and what's expected in 2022. So literally it's going to be a $1.4 trillion market for the IoT itself. And you're going to have 101 billion devices connected in the next 5 years or so, right? So basically IoT, it's basically anything that has an on and off switch will be able to be connected to the internet. And if you got that, obviously you got IoT solutions, which you need data. If you got data, you need storage. For storage, you need cloud. So you can imagine all of these are one ecosystem. And if you got the cloud solution in the data, you need AI to make sense of that data. So again, it's all one, happy family in a sense. So what's the future of IoT, right? Again, like I said, it's very close to me. Based on that, there's some facts. Again, I would pay attention to this slide because they might be part of the quiz. So some of the facts that are coming up, you can see that they're going to adding IoT devices will help organizations to be more efficient and provide solutions that they didn't think before, right? Again, you'll be able to save, literally this is a fact by Gartner, by 2020, $970 million will be saved, by implementing IoT solutions. 40% of data will come from IoT solutions, right? So again, that data, where is it going to be going? Where is it going to be hosted, right? You need AI solutions. You need cloud solutions to do that. 41 trillion spent in the next 20 years. Can you imagine? That's a large chunk of industry money, right? So understanding how IoT can play a part, and not just IoT, obviously, there's other family members, which I call like the AI as well as the data, that needs to be part of the IoT solution itself. And then the next topic is artificial intelligence. Again, we're seeing this is fundamentally going to change the world. We hear lots about, industry people say, or even the consumers talking about artificial is going to take over the world. We're going to lose jobs. Yes, you will, to be honest. You have to be realistic. But in terms of losing jobs, it also creates opportunities as well. If you go back in history, when the PC came into the market, the World Wide Web came into the market, people are thinking, oh, we're going to lose jobs, we're going to lose skill sets. But it also spurned out new opportunities, new business ventures, new skill sets were developed, right? So based on that, yes, there's going to be some, impact in the world, but it's also going to help alleviate inefficiencies, right? It's going to help you to overcome these repetitive jobs that people don't want to do, but can be automated, and then processes can be put into place, and you can concentrate on real life work that you want to do. Again, you're going to hear some really good speakers coming up from an AI perspective, who are going to provide some live information, how they're helping in the law society, for example, or in the manufacturing type of thing, how AI is playing a big role in that. So I don't want to spend too much on the AI side. Again, one of the big things about AI is, which we already probably use, is chatbots. Chatbots are playing a really good part in terms of helping organizations, especially, I would say, the service desk area, where they're eliminating the boring, repetitive jobs that people are doing in terms of answering phones or answering certain basic questions. One of the talks that you'll hear from one of the speakers is how AI and chatbot is playing part in the law structure itself, how it's replacing a divorce lawyer with a chatbot. So that's a quite interesting topic that you'll be able to listen to, and how it's eliminating the initial processes and creating the documentation of the law society itself. Just looking at the figures here, you can see that how big of the market of the AI is. I've just highlighted a few here. Manufacturing, professional services, and financial services. They are in trillions, right? And this is not too far. I mean, we say 2035. Literally, time flies, right? Next minute you're going to know it's 2020, and then the next is 2035, and then this is the size of the market that's going to grow for, and how AI is going to play a big part into that. Again, one of my statements is, AI is going to be everywhere, and there's no industry or no area where AI is not going to be available. It might be in your homes, it's going to be in your daily lives, it's going to be in your cars, it's going to be in hospitals, manufacturing, you name it, it's going to be everywhere. So you're basically not going to be away from AI itself. Again, today you're using it at home. I'm sure most of you here in the environment have used your mobile phones for Siri, or you've got Alexa at home. You're using the AI solutions today. But going forward, the industry is going to be huge. And then the idea is blockchain. Again, blockchain came into the market, obviously talking about cryptocurrencies and all that. I really stay away from cryptocurrencies at the moment. I was talking from a smart contract perspective, how smart contracts can play a part in helping organizations improve their efficiencies. If you look at that, it's basically an environment or process where self-executes itself. So if some condition is met, the next step is executed itself going forward. Some facts here that how it can help organizations in terms of its a blockchain solution, having smart contract. It's immutable, meaning if something's been added to the blockchain, it cannot be removed. It's always recorded there. It's a ledger that cannot be tampered with, and you will always have a record going forward. Some of the benefits here are listed. It's, again, I said, it's secure, it's immutable, it's fast in terms of you don't have to waste time. You can, again, I think Dubai is one of the leading countries in terms of implementing blockchain smart contracts from the land registry perspective. There was a statement I think made recently where you can buy a piece of land or real estate within 10 minutes. Your KYC is done for the bank, your land registry is done by the authorities, and the whole process in place comes into play using this process where within 10 minutes your documents are ready instead of spending days and running around in all of these environments. Use cases, again, used in real estate, it could be used in manufacturing, in insurance claims where people, obviously there's a lot of cases where insurance people have a lot of fraud issues going on, where using the blockchain technology itself, you can obviously eliminate those processes while adding secure environments. Again, you'll be hearing a bit more about blockchain, how it plays a part in the society from leading speakers coming forward. Digital transformation, right? Basically, we talk about digital transformation, how it impacts society. You're going to hear in the next few minutes or so from one of my colleagues and close friend, Hanan. She'll be covering this area a bit more in details. But you have to remember, all of these technologies that come into play, yes, there's an impact in terms of society, in terms of people, and based on that, again, there was a video which I wanted to share, but for some reason it's not working. I'll try to fix that out later on for the lunchtime. But what I want to say is, think about this. Before the phones, we had to be in the same room, right? Before the internet, we had to be in the same building to share documents. Before the smartphones, we weren't able to share anything, as in documentations and all that. But today, we live in a different world. So that's basically digital transformation, how over time, things have changed. Right? So based on that, we accept these things, and we make that part of our society itself. So again, with digital transformation, you need to empower your employees or empower yourselves. Bring in any form of digital transformation into the market or in the organization. You need to work with your employees. Make sure that they don't feel that threatened in terms of they're going to lose their jobs or anything. So based on that, again, what's that? You need to optimize your operations, right? So if you've introducing digital transformation, you need to understand what kind of solutions are you bringing into the market, how they're going to be impacting your normal daily-to-day activities. So you need to optimize those. So again, you need to transform your products. So when you do a digital transformation, your products also get optimized. Your solutions get transformed into processes that are more efficient. CRMs, tools that we use in organizations, before it was human efforts, where we used to input data manually type of thing. Now we've got solutions where we can do that with online tools. So again, adding digital transformation into the market or in the organization, it is a culture change, right? So basically your culture becomes your behavior. So if your culture is changed, your behavior is going to change. So the way you used to do things, you're not going to be doing it today. Right? So again, digital transformation is not just a culture change, it's a mindset change as well. So you need to think differently. How do you implement these solutions? We talk about AI, we talk about blockchain, we talk about all the other environments I just mentioned. But from that behavior, you become digital. So basically, once you've implemented those solutions and you've changed your behavior, you become digital regarding using these solutions itself. So the biggest thing of digital transformation is the way we think, right? So thinking again with AI solutions coming to the market, the first thing people think, oh, we're going to lose jobs, but it's not losing jobs. It's how you think, how you can implement these solutions, and how they can help your organizations move forward. Just within 2019 now, right? If I go back 20 years ago, which is 19 years back, again, it was a different world, right, in terms of the technologies we're using and how technology has advanced so much in the last 19 years. Now, just going forward, go 19 years forward to 2038. So based on 2038, can you imagine the world that you're living in with all the technology we have today, or how will we be living in 19 years from now? We're talking about connected cars at this stage, right? We're talking about smart roads at this stage. I've just come back from London a week ago on Sunday, and one of the motorways that they were building is called the Smart Motorway, where they are inputting, obviously, smart signals for connected cars, as well as chargeable batteries under the road, so while an electric car is driving, it's being charged. So that's already been implemented today. So think 19 years ahead. I mean, we watch a lot of movies, future movies type of thing. In the past, it was like, oh, this is scientific. It's not. Scientific is becoming a fact, right? We get all these movies that we watch about science. If you see it in the movie, it's going to be there in the next couple of years now. In the past, it's like going back in history. Star Trek was one. I mean, if you're familiar with Star Trek, the first, mobile phones in the sense that they had, right? We use them now on a daily basis, right? So anything that's what's available now in the movies, I reckon is going to be reality coming forward, or 19 years from now. Again, I don't want to imagine. I say to my kids, you're not going to be driving cars. You'll be just sitting in them. So it's a skill that they're going to lose in a sense, but they'll also gain, other areas where they can concentrate on. So again, with the emerging technologies, we talk about 5G. 5G is obviously a big topic nowadays. You see a lot of telecoms talking about 5G. It's still early stages. Again, in the UK, while I was there, I was speaking to one of the telecom providers, and they were saying that they need to obviously implement lots of hotspots and areas where they can get the signal of 5G going forward. But it's going to change our lives, especially with 5G coming into the market, with the data that's going to be transmitted, as well as with the IoT solutions and the data that's going to be available through these environments. There's going to be lots of opportunity going forward. In the Far Eastern world, like Japan and China type of thing, they already have 5G in the market, but it's still, I would say, early for this region, because there's not many devices available, right? Again, I think today Apple's going to be announcing their new iPhones and everything and all that. They're going to be talking about, I mean, if you get a chance, do log on to the internet tonight and watch the seminar, because they're not going to be releasing the 5G phone yet, because they still think it's immature, whereas the other organizations like the Hawaii's and all that, they are releasing phones, but it's still, I would say, early days, but it's going to change the industry in terms of the amount of data that's going to be transmitted. And with that data transmitted, obviously you need IoT solutions, you need AI solutions, you need storage, and based on the storage, you need cloud solutions. So, and another thing that people not aware of is something that's coming or is around is called Wi-Fi 6. It's a terminology that a lot of people at home don't think about, but the Wi-Fi that we use today, we don't have a name for it, it's just Wi-Fi. But now the industry is changing, so they're bringing out new standards, and one of the standards is this called Wi-Fi 6. Again, this is moving so fast. Even yesterday I was reading an article and researched article that they're already talking about Wi-Fi 7, right? So you always have to keep up to these, obviously, trends that are coming up. But Wi-Fi 6, again, for normal consumers or in-house consumers, it's going to revolutionize the amount of data and black spots that we have in our houses. That's going to eliminate all those issues. So again, 5G, obviously for larger scale manufacturing or data transformation, that's another thing that we need to be aware of from a digital transformation point of view. And secondly is Wi-Fi 6, that's another standard that's going to be implemented soon. Based on that, I think I've spent enough time in terms of explaining some emerging technologies. But again, I just want to say that I'm part of Data Pillar, My Learning Key, and London School of AI, where we provide training as well as consultancy services. Again, Data Pillar as an organization from London, we've done lots of work for the UK government where we are their digital partner. We help them to implement digital solutions depending on whichever area they want to go into. London School of AI is part of the Data Pillar organization where we provide artificial intelligence programs and certified programs to professionals as well as corporations. And there are different programs from basically basic business professionals all the way to development and deployment. And then My Learning Key, basically I'm the CEO of My Learning Key, which provides certified programs. I've got my partners here as well, where we have certified programs which are recognized around the world. My name is Asif. Thank you very much for listening.
I have a question, like, you said we have to think to become digital, So I am start thinking, how to be digital, So what else I need to do?
So in terms of thinking digital, it's not a matter of the technologies that we spoke about, right, to implement them. Thinking digital, how do you see your processes today? What are your pain points, right? Based on that, how can you make your things efficient? And there's different tools that we can implement.
That's right.
So I don't have a question, but I can always give my input because I talk to several CFOs in the region, and I advise them on going on the automation journey in their organizations because some of the functions which are today human being dependent are going to die very, very soon, and accounting, finance, auditing are some of these functions where there's a lot of mundane, repetitive, voluminous work which does not really add value to chartered accountants, auditor, and all those people. So they got to become technology dependent, and which actually is a slightly tough sell when it comes to the private sector. It is being adopted by the governments and the banks, but private sector tend to shy away. But I always tell them, you are in a country which is the only country in the world with a Ministry of Artificial Intelligence and a Minister of Artificial Intelligence, a gentleman, Omar Al-Lama, 29 years old gentleman. If you interact with him, you would know what he's talking about. And UAE wants to be the superpower in AI by 2030, right? So what you're talking about today, Asif, obviously we hope a lot of private sector gets this message and comes on the digital transformation journey as quick as possible, in line with government's vision and in line and how they can improve efficiency, reduce error rates, decrease cost of manpower in their organizations, because again UAE is heavily dependent on expat workforce, right? We don't have local focus, so the cost is too high.
No, that's great. Yeah, obviously that insight is true, right? In terms of you've gone through a whole change of industry from manual work to always adding digital tools. We say digital transformation, but on a daily basis we are implementing new solutions for our own activities, right? In terms of CRMs, in terms of, like you said, your auditing and tax. I'm sure you've, over the last 10 to 15 years, you've improved your processes by adding some form of technology.
You're my mentor. So Asif, first of all, congratulations. I absolutely loved your presentation, and I know, you being my friend, a good friend, and a mentor to me, who put me into the field of data science. But we have to wonder, because we talk about AI, we talk about technology. This is one question that always bothers me, and I come from the marketing field, I come from the digital perspective. We talk about a changing future, a changing landscape from 19 years from now. But in this current world, I was reading up a report 6 months ago. There are over 7 billion people on this earth, if I'm not wrong, probably more if they have been born by now. People come and go. But half of the population on this world, in reality, doesn't have access to a basic computer. Now, we're talking about creating smart cities and everything, and I'm not against the idea of doing so. But I'm just a bit confused on how would the world look like where half of the world is reaching Mars, and then half will be still living in a current not digitally advanced planet Earth. How do you see that when people that are talking about so much of advancement and transformation and inevitable technology, basically, because the way forward is to embrace it. But what about the rest of the half of population that doesn't even have access to basic computer? How do you see the world in terms of that perspective?
Mobile technology, the adoption of mobile technology in Africa is huge. 850 million people just got connected last year. That's the news. So there's always ways of connecting and how these technologies will play a part in different societies. So AI might not be a part of Africa today, but they don't have internet, but they've used mobile phones, another form of technology, which has helped them to embrace some form of technology, right? So they're even using cryptocurrency, they're using digital wallets, using their mobile phones. So every society or every, I would say, individual finds a way to embrace some form of technology. So AI, obviously, we talk about these developing countries where they've adopted and they're trying to make smart cities type of thing. But even organizations or companies or even countries where infrastructure is not in place, they can still embrace some form of digital transformation using different technologies. It doesn't have to be AI. Could be IoT devices, right? Could be cloud solutions that today that are using, we take for granted. For them, it might be something new, but it's a step in the right direction where as societies grow, as people evolve, individuals are being exposed to. I mean, again, I'm sure everybody's seen a video. If not, I would encourage you. There's a video from one of these, how behavior has changed of child who's growing up in today's society. The video shows that a 2-year-old who's playing on the iPad, right, and it knows which buttons to press, where's the home key, where's the application type of thing. And you take the iPad away and you give him a magazine with the same picture, and it struggles. The behavior of the child goes, where do I press? It's not changing anything, and then the child gets really frustrated, and you give the iPad back to the child, and is happy again. Right? So as societies are growing and the world is evolving with new technologies, people automatically adapt and they adopt solutions that are apparent to them.
On the committee advisory board with Google and Amazon and a whole bunch of companies on a project called Moonshot Africa. Moonshot has an ambition, 2030, to connect everybody in Africa, including all the villages, farms, medical centers, etc. The World Bank's allocated currently $24.5 billion to be spent by 2030 to connect up the unconnected in Africa, and that's only a small project to what's happening around the world. So in answer to your question, how are these people going to get digitally connected? We have to put the infrastructure in before we can give somebody. In discussions with the Gates Foundation, they had Bill has got an ambition of putting a computer, a smartphone in the hands of every child in Africa. But you got to get people connected first. So there are a lot of initiatives and a lot of cash being spent to enable that, to allow the digitalization of the world in those, and to give people basic advancements in their lives. Because this is not about aid anymore. This is about empowerment. And that changes the world.
Mr. Asif, this is a question from finance. How AI helps in financial markets, particularly in algorithm trading, or in terms of transforming the market behavior? I mean, people tend to use this for studying the market movements, both in equities as well as in terms of currency movements. So how this could transform or how it empowers the market functionaries?
Well, again, AI is playing a big role in every industry, and finance is one of the biggest ones that's been impacted. The algorithms that have been written are being improved on a daily basis. Based on that, the calculations that a human mind or an analyst would sit in front of the screen would do, obviously that's changed over the last 10 to 15 years, and now going forward they are done in literally milliseconds. So obviously, as you know, in the financial industry, every second is counts for money and pennies and stuff type of thing. So based on that, the algorithms that they've been written, they're obviously from leading data scientists who understand not from the business side but from the financial side as well. Again, I don't comment on too much on algorithms. You're going to hear some really good speakers talking about the algorithms and how AI is helping those algorithms to develop the financial markets. Thank you.